Good day, everyone. My name is Amalara Ishola. I'm the host of Possibilities Divine, and I'd like to welcome you to today's live streaming titled Naomi Syndrome. Naomi Syndrome. So, what is Naomi Syndrome? That is a theme that we got from the book of Ruth, chapter 1, verses 19 to 20. The book of Ruth, chapter 1, verses 19 to 20. And I'm going to read that quickly so that kind of gives us an idea of where the theme came from, the situation that a woman found herself. So the two of them went on until they came to Bethlehem. And when they came to Bethlehem, the whole town was stirred because of them. And the women said, "Is this Naomi?" She said to them, "Do not call me Naomi, call me Mara, for the Almighty has dealt very bitterly with me." In this short passage, we see that life was happening to Naomi. She was experiencing storms and challenges of life. And if you read the whole chapter from the beginning, you see that she was subjected to the same thing all of us are subjected to. For example, her family and herself went from Bethlehem, Judah, to Moab, and it's the equivalent of a whole lot of us who are in diaspora. You have left your hometown, you are in search of a greener pasture, and you find that you have left your familiar and comfort zone and you have moved into somewhere else. And Naomi faced a huge challenge in the sense that within a short period of time, she became a widow. She lost her husband. And before she could take solace in the fact that her two sons were of marriageable age and they got married to lovely women, both sons died. And so life for Naomi was full of ups and downs. And for each and every one of us too, we find out that life is full of ups and downs, regardless of our own personal plan. Life has a way of trumping our plans and subjecting us to trials and challenges. And the essence of today's stream is for us to look at how do you handle life challenges. As a Christian, we are not exempted from challenges and storms of life. I hear quite a number of people say, I reject this, I reject that. Without a doubt, God doesn't sit down with a long whip to strike us or to smack us so that he can test us. However, I have discovered that everybody who has ever walked with God, who had to go through their own challenges, their own storms, and this, in the process of being exposed to trials and challenges, we find that we discover our inner strength and we develop our character. Naomi was in such a hopeless situation. She had lost everything that made life matter to her. Her husband was dead, so there was no hope of, okay, maybe she would have other children. And her sons, who could have given her children, also died. And when you look at your own life, I'm not sure how beautiful, how colorful life was when you started off. Perhaps when you look at the story of Naomi, she must have been a great woman, a woman of influence, and perhaps a woman of substance before she left Bethlehem, Judah. The Bible records that a great company of women, the whole town, for her to come back into Bethlehem and for people to notice means that she must have been a woman who affected lives, who had influence, who wielded influence, whether maybe she was a women leader, maybe she was an activist, maybe she was just a mother in Israel, somebody that people could go to, and people looked at her and they looked up to her as a role model, and all of a sudden she came back and things had gone south for her. Things were looking very ugly for her. And I don't know what situation you have found yourself. A few years ago, a friend of mine who was, the best student in this, the best students in that, found herself failing repeatedly. I'm not sure whether you're one of those people who would say, "I've never failed an exam before." And yet the exam that stands between you and your future, you are failing it repeatedly. And it's making you question why. Sometimes you wonder, I have put in effort. I have prayed. I have paid tithe. I have sowed seed. I have done this. I have done that. And it seems as if the challenge that you're facing is not answering to any of those solutions. Naomi syndrome. Have you changed your name because of what and where you have been through? Naomi was a woman, apparently, whose name meant pleasantness and blissfulness. And so when you now think of somebody whose name meant pleasantness, coming around and say, no, please do not call me pleasantness anymore, because I have nothing to show in my life that I am pleasant or my life means pleasantness. And sometimes we are at our wits' end like that. Maybe people call you a particular name, or people respect you, and they when it comes to certain situations, maybe they look up onto you for solution. And you yourself are saying, I don't even have solution for my own personal challenges. How much more? Maybe you have committed your life and everything into a marriage relationship that has just caved in. Maybe you have just been betrayed by a very close friend, a friend that you have been loyal to, that you have supported maybe through their own challenging times. Or maybe you have gone into a business partnership with a friend who's supposed to be loyal and committed, and they have wrecked the business to the point that you have to declare bankruptcy, or you don't even know where to start. Naomi's response is what is so important that we're looking at. That when life, the ups and downs of life, when we are confronted by them, how do we handle them? Trust me, it's not always a walk in the park when you're facing challenges. For example, when you discover that your close friend is having an affair with your husband, where do you go to? Who do you consult? Who helps you with such issues? Or maybe you don't have marital challenges, your career is going well, everything looks hunky-dory. However, the children that you labor over and over and over to make sure they succeed, perhaps you don't even recognize them by the reason of the friends they keep, by reason of the way they are, they're turning out. And you begin to wonder, what have I done wrong? And that was the case that was the same situation that Naomi found herself. She had experienced the bitterness and the sorrow of life. She had experienced the storms of life, and it looked so dark and hopeless that she said, I need a name change. Enough of fooling myself, calling myself pleasantness when my reality does not even confirm that. Who has disappointed and who has betrayed you? Friends, people you hold in confidence over issue. Maybe you have an issue that's supposed to be your secret, and you have told a friend, and that friend has publicized it, and the whole city knows, and it's as if your secret is out. And it's like there's no way for you to hide yourself. It's okay. Was Naomi just trying to change her name? She could not see any pleasantness except for bitterness in her life. Who wouldn't? When you're faced with situations where maybe you have been married for a long time, and children who were still in kindergarten when you got married, they are almost done having child. They're almost done the childbearing phase. And you begin to ask yourself, what have I done wrong? Most of the time, when we ask, what have I done wrong? It's because we have a sense of entitlement, a sense of this is not supposed to happen to me. And so as a Christian, bad things happen to Christians. And when this happens, what should be your response? What should be your disposition, especially when your heart can scarcely handle it? And I was looking at a few questions. When you invest in a professional exam heavily, for example, some people travel from where they are, maybe as medical doctors, as lawyers, as professionals, and they come to another part of the world. And usually such professions are like very lucrative. And the only thing standing between them and the future they dream for themselves is usually an exam. And when you have failed that exam over and over again, and people are encouraging you, well, if that exam is not working, or if you can't get over that hurdle, why don't you start from somewhere? And perhaps you've started a few years and you're working at maybe an entry-level position or something that is way below your own capacity. And it seems as if you're not going anywhere. And you are stuck in the rut of trying to figure out the next move. What do you do? At this junction, I want to share a testimony of a young man. That man used to be in the church I used to attend, and he migrated to a medical doctor. And I didn't know, we just knew he was a medical doctor. And so I was like, how are you doing? When I greet him, how are your exams, how are things? He just positively say, everything is fine. Until one day I went to work and I just found him. And I saw him at my workplace, and I said, "Oh, I didn't want to ask too many questions." And he came to me and he said, oh my goodness. He said, Madam, I've been dreading the day I will meet you at work. I said, why? He said, I'm not here as a medical doctor. I'm here as a personal support worker. I said, what does it matter? I see you, standing in the company of the medical doctors here in this land and functioning with them. I said, whatever you're doing now, you're just getting a head start. I said, be encouraged. Would you know that not too long after that, the man got an opportunity. I think he passed his exams and now he's practicing as a medical doctor. So when life happens in ways that you are almost frustrated, where do you turn to? A failed marriage is a devastating blow. All you have worked for falls like a pack of cards in your face through infidelity, indecent behavior. And at the end of the day, it had nothing to do with you. It probably has something to do with your partner. Perhaps you're the one who is holding the end of the game. You're doing things right. You're obedient. You are submissive, or you love your spouse. And all of a sudden, things turn around. And you're wondering, what have I done wrong? In what area have I missed it? What you state or announce is very important, because words do not die. When Naomi faced the situation, she decided to go back to her hometown. And when she got there, and people recognized her, and that happens oftentimes. People, maybe you went to high school together and they see you, oh my goodness, you must, and they're making suggestions about where they expect you to be. And shame is all you can experience because you are so far from the expectations. One of the reasons why God laid this video live stream upon my mind is to encourage one or two people who might find themselves in the rut of life. Maybe you say to yourself, what does it matter? The fact that I finished uni early doesn't matter. The fact that I did this, the fact that I was a best student in my school doesn't matter because I don't have any results to show for it. Says who? It does not matter where you have found yourself. Mind what you say, because words don't die. Be careful what you confess about your situation. Naomi said she wanted a name change. Not a name change from good to better, but a name change from good to bad. She said, don't call me pleasantness, call me sorrow, call me Mara. Perhaps you're saying to yourself, what is your life worth? And you are considering suicide. You're considering dying. You're considering giving up. Some people don't die physically, but they have died on the inside. Everything that dreams, everything that aspires for greatness has died on the inside of you. I'd like to encourage you. What did Naomi say? Naomi stated that God has testified against her. The Message version says, the strong one has dealt me a bitter blow. The strong one has ruined me. God does not ruin us. It does not matter how ugly our situation may be. God expects the very best for us. God does not allow us to go through those things so that we'll be crushed and then he will show his strength as if I am a destroyer. God is not a destroyer. He is for you. He is on your side. And the things that you face do not reduce your worth. Even though Naomi said, I am Mara, it did not change the fact that every trait in her was of pleasantness. She was a builder. She was an encourager. She was one who sought to grow the future of her daughter-in-law. She was the one who wanted good for somebody else. And so for somebody who is listening to me or who will watch me later, and your desire is that things will go well for people, you're always supportive, but you find out that nobody seems to support you in life. It seems as if every good thing that you have, somebody else desires it. Do not worry. God, who has created you the way he has created you, would always make a way for you, even where there seems to be no way. Naomi didn't have a husband. Naomi didn't have children who could give him children, who could give her grandchildren. However, through the same Ruth that she supported, that she built up, God was able to give her children. When you go to the book of Ruth chapter 4, you will see how the same women, so that tells me she has not destroyed the relationship she had. The women who gathered, who declared that, oh my God, an end has come, were the same women who said, God has done well for Naomi. Look at the child that God has given you through your daughter-in-law. See how she has been a blessing to you. And see how this child will make you again. See how this child will nurture you. See how this child will make your future beautiful. And so that's what I have brought tonight to say to you, that regardless of where you have been, what you have been, God is preparing a beautiful future for you. And the delay that you have experienced so far will be expedited and yield into beautiful and fruitful results. Somebody says, I got jilted when I was 27. And that seemed to be the prime of the time you could have gotten married. And it seems as if all the men of marriageable ability have been married off. Do not worry. Your Boaz will locate you. Was it not the Boaz of Ruth that located her against all odds in the most unlikely situation? And Ruth eventually got married. She didn't get married to just anybody, just any, somebody that looks like a man. But she got married to a man of means, a man of substance. And not only did she get married, she had children that linked her into the lineage of the Lord Jesus Christ. So when you are going through a very rough patch, when it looks very dark, may I encourage you that it is because the plan that God has for you is beautiful. And before gold can be displayed, it has to be tested. And so whatever it is that you're going through, somebody says, how many times will I go through my test? Do I have to die before I succeed in proving to God that I have been transformed? Don't worry about it. How do we maintain a positive attitude during a negative period? One, I said, live each day one step at a time. It's very easy to look at your friends, maybe high school friends who are successful, who are achievers, who have made big names. Maybe some of them are functioning. When you mention their names now, everybody knows them. And you were the one everybody would have imagined will be in that position. It does not matter. Whatever God has proposed for you in life, no situation can take it away from you. Ruth became somebody very relevant in the destiny of Naomi, the same way Naomi was relevant in Ruth's destiny. God will bring you to profitable relationships that will bring a turnaround in your situation. Do not give in to worry. When you are facing a very dark situation, it's very easy to worry. What does tomorrow hold? How will I get over this? How will I survive? And you begin to ask questions and you begin to doubt yourself. Worry is one of the things that can destroy you from the inside onto the outside. Corrie ten Boom, a Dutch woman who survived the Holocaust. This is what she has to say about worry. Corrie ten Boom says, worry does not empty tomorrow of its sorrow. It empties today of its strength. So the strength that you need to carry on, you waste in the process of worrying. What would happen tomorrow? What if this doesn't happen? What if? I welcome you to begin to live your life looking sincerely unto God. It doesn't matter how dark it gets. He is the light that would always guide your path. He is the light in your path. And he would always hold you by the hand and walk you through your dark patch. Greatness is innate. Everything that goes inside of you, greatness is in it. So the things we go through, the circumstances we go through may only slow us down, but they do not take away from the substance and the greatness on the inside of us. So when a man jilts you, God will bring another man who will marry you. When a woman disappoints you, God will bring another woman who will help you. When your business crumbles, when it crashes, you learn from whatever led to that destruction, and you're able to rebuild a better business. What about when sickness takes hold of your life? God is the healer, Jehovah Rapha, and is able to bring healing and is able to bring restoration. When infidelity strikes you and the marriage that you have put all hopes and plans and everything into, when it becomes a shamble, when it becomes nothing to write home about, you can always tell God, I have depended on you. And the book of Psalm 34 and 34 verse 5 says, they look up unto him, their faces were lightened and they were not ashamed. So God is able to take away shame from every area of your life. With God's help and provision, you can create greatness again, because greatness is in it. Naomi did. The women gathered again, and they gathered with a testimony to attest to God's faithfulness in Naomi's life. Others may have moved on, but God's help is right on time. So sometimes when life is happening negatively to you, and it seems your friends have moved on onto better friends or onto friends that are happening, or maybe all your friends are married and they don't even have your time, and you seem to be the only single person at almost 40 or maybe over 40. Do not worry. God will always send friends at every point. They may be younger, they may be older, they may not be the same crowd that you started off with, but you would always have people that God will bring your way to give you succor, to give you support. Naomi Syndrome When we talk about Naomi syndrome, it affects every area of life. It's all about our disposition and our attitude when things are not going rosy. Of course, when things are honky-dory, everybody's happy, everybody knows how to do it. But when things don't go well for you, all of a sudden, it seems as if you don't know how to do anything. May I encourage you that it is not about your ability or your talent. It's about the future that God is preparing for you. And I want to agree with you in prayer that everyone who is in a dark situation, everyone who seems to be in the dark room of life, God is processing you. And when you come out, you will be beautiful. You'll be a show. You will be a masterpiece. And everybody will see you and they will be wondering, wow, how did you do it? How did you make it out? Because I am assured without a doubt that you're going to make it out of that difficult situation. You're going to make it out. You will rebuild on the ruins that you see today. And your future is glorious and beautiful. Your expectation will not be cut short. The exams that you have failed, you will pass at the rightness of time and you will move on. Colorful and beautiful, bright is your future. And God is bringing you to that place. Thank you very much for joining us. The Lord bless you and hope to see you next time. Bye.